YouTube, and thank you so much for tuning in to this week's oil painting time lapse. And as always, you can find my art supplies and links to purchase them in the video description. I wanted to start off this video by just announcing that I am officially going to be attending my mini solo show in Los Angeles. So it's going to be just a casual little meetup, no pressure to come, but if you're in the area, I'm going to be debuting this collection of paintings, including the one you're seeing me work on right now. And it's going to be at Helford Gallery. I'm going to be leaving the meetup information on the screen and also in the video description. I hope to see some of you there. I know you guys have requested for a Los Angeles area meetup for a while, so I'm pretty excited, but also really nervous because I have never done a meetup in a gallery this large before. There's actually 3 different rooms in Helford Gallery, so you might have to look for me when you get in, but either way, it's just such an honor to be able to display a mini solo show collection with them, and I couldn't be more excited to say hi to some of you guys and give you a big hug. Okay, now a little background about this piece. At this point, I had been pulling several all-nighters working on this new collection of paintings, and all I wanted was to be able to hide away somewhere, to take a nap and rest and just escape all of my mental burdens. So I used that feeling as my inspiration for this larger-than-life sleeping goddess, and she's tucked away cozily in China's uniquely shaped mountains. I actually combined the dramatic edges of the Huangshan Mountains with the serene water landscapes of Guilin Mountains. Like I said before, one of my favorite things about oil painting is that you really do get to break every rule and you get to create your own universe. So I got to combine my 2 favorite traits of these 2 different geographical locations and make them into my own real dream world inside this painting. So another thing about this piece is that I really wanted to work with a limited color palette. I was going for the entire show, I was going for this kind of watercolor oil painting hybrid aesthetic. I don't know how well I did because I feel like I naturally gravitate towards oils and all the textures and richness that comes with painting in oils, but I wanted to make this collection feel very traditionally Chinese, and Chinese art is known for really simple, flat watercolor paintings. So I borrowed from that and used a very limited earthy color palette, and also tried to refrain from adding value and contrast and shading because I feel like I tend to go overboard with that stuff. Oil paintings make it so easy to give your character almost like a 3D digital feel, and I really had to repress that urge to keep everything relatively flat while still showing the layers and the dimensions, especially when it comes to relating the character to the foreground, background, and middle ground, I guess, since there's probably like 4 or 5 layers of mountains total. So yeah, quite the brain teaser for me to try to give the piece some depth without painting too much literal depth and still keeping that kind of flat, illustrative, limited style. And I know I've already shared a lot of sneak peeks and written a lot of my thoughts about the inspiration and background of my collection on Instagram and on Patreon, but in case you guys haven't read any of that yet, this collection is very important to me because it's bringing me back to my roots. I am a Chinese American, and I was actually born in China and immigrated here when I was really young. But the last few years, I've taken many trips to see my family and stayed with them for an extended amount of time. So when I got the invitation to do the show, I was fresh off of a trip to visit my family, feeling really homesick and nostalgic and very inspired by Chinese culture. I think when you're an immigrant who has left your home country as a child, like for me, I still speak Mandarin, but it's really hard to keep up with the modern everyday culture, especially with the arts and film and music. So I actually forced myself to watch a lot of Chinese films and TV series, and I've always been really inspired by this kind of ancient traditional aesthetic, but lately it's just kind of reignited that feeling, kind of brought me back to when I was a child and I used to sit in front of the TV watching these kind of, martial arts fantasy films with all these women in beautiful costumes with their hair styles all ornate, and I would just sit and doodle with cheap markers in front of the TV, and that's kind of how I got started doing art in the first place, and that's what piqued my interest and made me want to keep art around as a hobby my entire life. So this was really meaningful for me to come back full circle, and now as an actual artist be able to really do justice to these women and not just doodle them like I did when I was a kid, and I would paint them with like triangular heads and they would just look like blobby aliens. But now I really love that I have the ability as an adult to revisit that childhood joy and that childhood inspiration and create this collection for you guys. I actually filmed every single oil painting that I did for this collection, and I am going to be releasing time lapses of them, probably slowly because I do need to take a break, but they're all coming up soon, and each piece you will be able to see how they not only kind of tie in with each other, but they each reflect kind of the mystical female figures in Chinese folklore, in Chinese mythology. They're all like goddesses or really significant historical figures. So I kind of put my own spin on them, and I am so excited to share the rest of the collection with you guys as well. And this mini solo show, even though it has the word mini in it, it was quite the difficult and taxing period of my life trying to make this collection happen. I think any artist who has to work on a multi-piece collection can agree with me and relate to me. It's impossible to avoid the stress and the panic. Even if you pace yourself and prepare ahead of time, we always end up procrastinating a little bit. I think there's a little bit of magic to the madness of procrastination and the fear of an impending deadline. But man, I am just excited to go back to our normal schedule and sleep when it gets dark and wake up when it gets light out. And I just can't wait to share these new pieces with you guys and hopefully meet some of you in person. Once again, I'm gonna pop the meetup information on the screen, and also it's gonna be in the video description. Oh, and also I love this gold frame. I think it suits this collection really well. It makes all the women look like queens. All the originals will be available through the gallery, but I have fine art prints available for you guys now, and I am so pleased with the quality and the colors of this print. I spent quite the long time working on editing the digital file to match it to the original, and if you guys want to pick one up, you can find it at happyd-artist.com. I wanted to quickly thank Squarespace for sponsoring this video and for supporting my channel and the art community. I've actually enjoyed using Squarespace for 4 years now to build and host my online shop and website. So whether you need a domain, website, or online store, make your next move with Squarespace. Start your free trial today at squarespace.com and visit squarespace.com/happydartist for 10% off your first purchase. Also, if you want to check out more artworks, works in progress, and just random daily artist adventures, feel free to check out my Instagram, and you can follow me at the handle @happydartist. And if you're interested in learning more about how to paint and draw, I have lots of art educational content on my Patreon page, including exclusive video tutorials, step-by-step photo tutorials, live streams, podcasts, and so much more, all available at patreon.com/happydartist. I'd love to have you join my Patreon family. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!